Buster Moon was an eternal optimist, but his true love was the theater. The problem was that his theater was old, dusty, and bleeding cash. He was teetering right on the edge of bankruptcy. To save his beloved venue, Buster hatched a plan. He decided to host a massive citywide singing competition, offering a grand prize of $1,000 to the winner. But during the drafting of the promotional flyers, his assistant, Miss Crawley, had a slight accident. Her glass eye popped out, making her unable to see the typewriter clearly. She accidentally added 2 extra zeros to the prize amount. Before Buster could review the copy and catch the massive typo, a gust of wind caught the papers and swept the entire stack right out the window, scattering them across the entire city. Buster's entire strategy to rescue his business now hinged on a massive financial obligation that he couldn't afford, and worse, didn't even know he had made. When those flyers landed, the promise of serious cash caught the attention of animals who were desperate for a way out. Take Rosita. She spent her days wrangling 25 hyperactive baby pigs, and this competition offered a chance to escape her exhaustion and pursue her neglected passion. Then there was Johnny, a teenage gorilla whose father ran a violent gang of thieves. For him, the prize money represented a clear exit ticket from a life of crime he never wanted. The flyer also reached Ash, a fiercely rebellious punk rock porcupine looking to prove her worth, and Mike, a tiny mouse with a massive ego who was entirely motivated by greed. Even Mina, a teenage elephant terrified of public speaking, felt a pull towards the stage. She desperately wanted to sing, even if the thought of facing an audience completely paralyzed her. Despite their wildly different backgrounds, $100,000 acted as the singular gravitational pull, drawing these individuals away from their harsh realities and directly into Buster's theater. Unaware of the looming disaster, Buster happily judged the auditions, handpicking a talented group of finalists and enthusiastically assuring them they were destined for fame. But reality eventually caught up. When Buster finally took a close look at his own flyer, he froze. As this chart highlights, he had promised a towering payout of $100,000, while his actual bank balance barely registers on the scale. He didn't even have $1,000 to his name. While Buster panicked over his secret deficit, the contestants' personal lives began unraveling. Johnny missed his shift as a getaway driver because he was busy practicing piano. The police easily caught his father, who furiously disowned his son from behind bars. Across town, Ash returned home to find her boyfriend cheating on her, leaving her deeply heartbroken. And back at the theater, Mina's stage fright proved so severe that she couldn't sing a single note, retreating to work as a stagehand cleaning the floors instead. The pressure was mounting from every direction. A massive financial lie hidden by a desperate director was colliding directly with the escalating personal failures of his cast. Desperate for an influx of cash, Buster invited Nana, a highly wealthy retired theater star, to an exclusive preview. He took a massive risk by flooding the stage with water and lighting it with bioluminescent squid, hoping the sheer spectacle would convince her to write a check. The performance actually started well, until a gang of violent bears smashed through the theater doors. Mike the Mouse had swindled them earlier, and they demanded the $100,000 prize. Cornered and terrified, Buster was forced to admit the truth. The money didn't exist. Enraged by the deception, the bears completely lost control and shattered the giant glass tank. Millions of gallons of water crashed through the auditorium, washing the cast into the street and reducing the historic building to a pile of wet rubble. Buster had launched the competition to save his theater. Instead, his reliance on a fabricated, inflated financial promise was the exact mechanism that physically leveled the building to the ground. Having lost absolutely everything, Buster lived into a friend's tiny pool house. He abandoned the arts entirely, spending his days on a street corner, miserably scrubbing cars with a plastic bucket and a sponge just to survive. A few weeks later, while scrubbing a bumper, a melody caught his attention. He followed the sound through the streets until he reached the wreckage of his theater. There, sitting on the broken concrete, was Mina. She was singing with her eyes closed, her voice filling the empty space where the walls used to be. For the first time since the collapse, Buster stopped looking at the ground. He realized then that the competition didn't need a building to exist. He gathered the group and gave them the truth. There was no roof, no stage, and definitely no money. but they still had the songs they'd practiced. The $100,000 prize was the original catalyst, but losing it revealed the reality of the situation. Without the promise of a payout, the only reason left to sing was because they actually had something to say. Working as a united front, the animals repurposed the disaster zone. They hauled broken concrete blocks to form a makeshift stage and strung up cheap lighting across the debris. They kicked off the concert with an intensely energetic dance from Rosita and Gunter. The performance was so engaging that pedestrians stopped in their tracks, and soon a news helicopter was broadcasting the dancing pigs live to the entire city. Next, Johnny delivered a soulful piano ballad. Over at the city prison, his father watched the live broadcast. Overwhelmed with pride, he broke right out, outran the police, and sprinted to the outdoor theater to tackle his son in a massive, apologetic bear hug. Then Ash took the stage, shredding her electric guitar and belting out an original rock anthem that left her mean ex-boyfriend staring from the crowd in complete shock. The concert proved that a financial windfall was unnecessary. Johnny earned his father's pride, Ash reclaimed her confidence, and Rosita escaped her routine. They achieved through a free performance what they originally thought required a massive prize. Finally, Mina stepped up to close the show. Staring out at the massive crowd, the familiar panic washed over her. But with a nod from Buster, she took a deep breath and began to sing. Her majestic voice practically shook the concrete under their feet. Nana watched from the back of the crowd, entirely moved by the resilience of the cast. The very next day, she purchased the ruined property and completely funded the construction of a brand new, state-of-the-art theater. The typo that destroyed Buster's theater also stripped away the distractions of the prize money. It left the cast with nothing but a pile of rubble and the courage to stand on it and sing.